The Tombstone thunderbird photo shows a potentially unidentified bird found in Tombstone, Arizona, portrayed as a strange winged beast in an April 1890 release of the local newspaper. The cryptid is likewise claimed to look like a thunderbird, a mythological animal Native American culture. Others have depicted it as a pterodactyl-like. The cryptid is likewise claimed to look like a thunderbird, a mythological animal in Native American culture. Others have depicted it as pterodactyl-like. It was hunted by ranchers who then took a picture of its body nailed to a barn. According to various reports over the years, notwithstanding many individuals professing to have seen a photograph being referred to, its existence hasn't been proven. Various pictures have been referred to as the supposed Thunderbird photograph, with many revealed as fake. The original newspaper detailed that two farmers had found a winged beast which had been recovering from a long flight. After calming down from their initial shock, the men chased the bird on horseback for a few miles. While the bird put up a fight, it succumbed to a few gunshots. The men estimated the animal, deciding it to be 160 feet long and 50 inches in diameter. The newspaper described it as resembling a huge alligator with extremely elongated tail and an immense pair of wings. Its thick wings each measured approximately 78 feet in length. Its head measured approximately 8 feet in length. While different papers later retold the story, they never elaborated what the men's names were, nor referenced or gave any photos of the incident. Initially, the story would be forgotten for a long time, just for it to reemerge in a 1963 issue of Saga. As per its creator, Jack Pearl, the incident was first told in 1886 Tombstone newspaper. He was likewise quick to contrast it with the thunderbird, including the ability to flash its eyes to summon lightning and create thunder by simply flapping its wings. The mystery would continue here, as Pearl also claimed the mysterious bird was photographed by the ranchers. He described the photo, stating the bird was nailed to a barn with its wings spread out, while the men stood in front with their arms spread out. Pearl's photograph claim contradicts the fact none of the original story's publications stated any photos were ever taken. Yet the story would start a major revelation, as many people in the decades since have claimed they have seen the photograph in question. Among those include researcher W. Ritchie Benedict, who also claimed a 1960s Canadian television program showed the image, while others recalled seeing it in newspapers and magazines like National Geographic. The alternative theory is that Pearl found a source of the photo that predates his Saga article. It was later discovered that reports of a monster bird predated the Tombstone newspaper coverage. In January 1882, the Arizona Weekly Citizen reported that a monster eagle, about 7 feet and 4 inches in size, was hunted after it attacked a man. 2 months later, the New York Times and the Sacramento Daily relayed a short report from Gridley Herald telling the story of two lumberjacks, Thomas Campbell and Joseph Howard, who, depending on the publication, encountered the bird while working in the California woods. These reports were first to identify the bird as crocodile-like. Unlike the Tombstone story, the bird was not taken down despite Howard firing a shot at it. The attack seemingly dealing little inconvenience aside from causing the bird to cry like a calf and bear combined. As mentioned previously, the Tombstone story was republished in other newspapers, while an 1890 issue of a San Diego newspaper determined the incident as fake. It also reported the son of a local judge had witnessed a similar bird while exploring the hills of the city park, while the newspaper was again quick to deem the story as improbable. It was the first to claim that a picture of the bird hunted in Arizona was taken. When it was shown to the boy, he clarified that it was precisely what he had seen. It should be noted that the newspaper may not have been referring to a photo, as in that same year an illustration of the alleged bird was published in the San Francisco Examiner. In 1892, General Nova, a giant sequoia tree, was cut down so that an exhibit could be produced for the 1893 World Columbian Exposition. While it appears this story has no correlation with the Thunderbird mystery, researchers have noted similarities with a photo taken before the tree's destruction. In it, lumberjacks surround the trees, their arms spread out, touching each other tip to tip, a direct correlation with the alleged Thunderbird's photo description provided by Pearl. Finally, on May 31st, 1901, the Citizen reported that a man from Maryland, Edward Zimmerman, had hunted a monster bird measuring around 7 feet with gunshots. The most compelling aspect of this story is Zimmerman had the bird be nailed up against his barn. The bird's description and its fate clearly matched Pearl's description of the photo. Pearl's source for his article was possibly H.M. Cramer. He was a lumberjack from the Kettle Creek area of Pennsylvania who had clear interest in folk tales and the supernatural. He also claimed to have sighted thunderbirds, having discussed his sightings in multiple letters to Fate magazine from December 1950 to the 1960s. In September 1963, Cramer wrote to Fate concerning the Thunderbird photograph detailed by Pearl 4 months prior. He explained that in 1900, 2 prospectors hunted a thunderbird before bringing it to Tombstone. There they proceeded to nail it across the wall of the Tombstone newspaper before measuring its wingspread at about 36 feet. A picture was then provided of 6 men who outstretched their touched arms while under the bird. However, Cramer then claims a group of actors dressed as professors took a photograph with themselves under the bird. Underneath the photo was a caption saying, "Shucks, there is no bird, never was and never will be." In March 1966, Cramer again wrote to Fate, where he revealed he heard of the photograph story from a woman in Tombstone. He also stated the photo was provided in numerous newspapers, but did not elaborate further. In 1967, Cramer passed away from a house fire. According to an individual who knew Cramer, he owned a copy of the Thunderbird photo and had framed it in his living room. Ultimately, the photo did not survive the fire. Cramer may not be the most credible of sources, stating the improbability of a single individual witnessing multiple thunderbirds and other unusual phenomena. In addition to Cramer himself never mentioning his possessed copy of the photo. However, if Cramer was truthful, it's possible that he was referring to the 1901 Maryland incident, as that nearly matches up with the Kettle Creek residents' claim The photo originated in 1900. However, this also disproves the idea Cramer told Pearl about the story, seeing as Pearl elaborated on the Tombstone report he claimed occurred in 1886. It is perhaps possible that Cramer's recollection, if valid, merged the key aspects of the Arizona and Maryland incidents together, forming the story reported in Saga with the dates closely matching the Tombstone story. Another individual claimed to have not only seen the photo, but also stated he possessed a copy of it. Ivan T. Sanderson was a biologist and writer who was interested in cryptozoology. Prior to being involved with the Thunderbird mystery, Sanderson had declared that tracks from what appeared to be a giant penguin situated in Florida were genuine. In actuality, the whole incident was a hoax. Nevertheless, Sanderson was a major figure in the development of cryptozoology, including by forming the Society for the Investigation of the Unexplained in 1965. Sanderson's photo was believed to have been situated at the Society before being declared lost in 1972. Though it's stated the bird was about 30 to 36 feet, considerably smaller than the 160 feet bird reported by the Tombstone newspaper. How Sanderson's photo became lost is unclear. It was alleged that it was destroyed during a fire at the barn from Sanderson Zoo in 1955. It was also suggested that 2 copies became lost under different circumstances, one being destroyed by another fire, the second being taken by strangers who never returned it. Investigations into Sanderson's photo indicate that it was extremely unlikely to have been the one destroyed by fire, as it was known to have existed until at least 1965, a full decade after the barn fire. The photo burned by the fire most likely refers to the copy said to have been possessed by Cramer. Research also indicates the strangers, the ones believed to have taken Sanderson's photo, were anything but. Both worked for the Society and had taken the photo to Pennsylvania so they could investigate rumored Thunderbird sightings in the area. A game warden would later claim the members have shown him the photo in question. However, neither member found the photo within their archives, indicating the photo went missing sometime in 1967 or beforehand. John A. Keel, who wrote Strange Creatures from Time and Space, claimed that he had spoken with Sanderson about the photo in 1965, claiming that it was already missing by this time point. He claimed he saw it in the 1950s publication detailing thunderbirds, describing the creature as like a pterodactyl, and that it reflected the image from the 1880s. Some have also stated that Sanderson displayed the photo during an interview on the Perry Burton show, but the episode of that show has also become lost media. However, others have discredited the validity of Sanderson's photo. Some have alleged that it was actually a sketch, possibly designed by Sanderson himself. Others say they saw an artist's reproduction of the photo, but that was published in the 1950s. One man who claimed to see it drew a sketch of it, but it notably deviates from the descriptions provided by Cramer and Sanderson. Not only is the Thunderbird placed on the ground, only 2 cowboys are present, with one holding a rifle, the other pointing at the bird. It does, however, reflect the fact the Tombstone claim that only 2 men were involved in the encounter and the subsequent hunting of the bird. If the photo was sourced from a book on thunderbirds and other cryptids, it most likely originated after 1955 because the first book regarded about cryptids on the track of unknown animals by Bernard Hovelman was published in 1955. Therefore, when also considering Pearl's 1963 article, the photo would have surfaced sometime between 1955 to 1963. There have been claims that Sanderson's photo was found, providing images as proof. However, aside from the photo completely deviating from all Thunderbird photo accounts described thus far, the image was a hoax, being one of two altered photos of the capture of outlaw and train robber John Sontag in 1893. The initial image was published in an issue of Strange magazine before being debunked an issue later. Other photos, including known hoaxes, are classified under cryptozoology as relevant to the Thunderbird photo investigation, simply because they allegedly captured media of a massive flying winged entity, defining the Thunderbird as an exceptionally strong lifter with a size around 15 to 20 feet with a height of 4 to 8 feet, its color brown, gray, or black. Among these include the Bradford Big Bird, an alleged hawk-like bird photographed in Bradford, England, and witnessed by several individuals months later. The Kentucky Big Bird, a 7-foot monster bird captured within rural Kentucky, but was placed in captivity rather than hunted, and footage of an alleged pterodactyl captured in the early 1970s over the Yucatan. Additionally, cryptids have been utilized as war propaganda. Among these include an image with 7 men surrounding a statue of a bird, which was included in propaganda film. Whether this was the image individuals are mistaking the alleged Thunderbird photo for remains unclear. Numerous other fake photos have also been debunked over the years. One photo depicted a captured pterosaur with its hunters surrounding it. The image was actually created in 2010 by Christopher Smith, only for it to be stolen and passed on as the real Thunderbird photo. 2 alleged photos are of captured pterosaurs during the American Civil War. Despite some plausibility concerning the second image, with it initially deemed as genuine, though later discovered the bird's left wing appeared to have been taken from a media walking with dinosaurs. The reality was that the photos were used for a Fox show. Meanwhile, various other photos have been debunked, one of which seemingly featured hunters standing in front of a pterodon nailed to a barn, though the bird was actually a model. Another photo depicting hunters with a pterodactyl was debunked because the individual responsible for the photo manipulation forgot to remove deer hooves shown in the original image. One recreation in a later issue of Strange magazine, also said to be the real one. Ultimately, Thunderbird photos were composed of a gallery of fakes, as well as recreations admitted as such by their creators. It is also theorized that the first known photograph of a marabou stork captured by African tribesmen and spread around due to its inclusion in the 1972 edition of the Guinness Book of Records may have connection with the Mandela effect, or a massive case of misremembering surrounding this mystery. Other trophy photos, including a 1933 image of a giant devil ray, notably resemble what is described in the Thunderbird photo. Another image in this mystery is the Congo snake photographed by Ian Coleman. He was a correspondent for the Daily Telegraph and was also interested in folk tales. While traveling through the valley, Colvin photographed what was originally thought to be a pterodactyl. It was later reclassified as a Congo-mato, or breaker of boats, a cryptid described as pterosaur-like and living in tropical Africa. Due to documenting the Zambezi Valley floods, it was confirmed that the photo wasn't an issue of the Daily Telegraph. It also refers to the stories of Cramer, who, like Colvin, shared his enthusiasm for folk tales, as well as Sanderson, who in his 1937 book Best Treasure claimed to have encountered Bully Tau, a cryptid described as a giant bat. And other sources say that Sanderson remembered seeing Mangasias, whose cryptids are closely related to the thunderbird and pterodactyl. Finally, although there was a photograph from Colvin, correspondence with the Daily Telegraph revealed that the newspaper rarely archived their issues or published their images. The photo was not found in any known national or photographic archives and was declared lost. Although photos allegedly taken by Billy Muir were linked to Colvin, they were revealed to be images used from a book describing the pteranodon. Therefore, despite the links between the photograph and the Thunderbird mystery, its lost status means that a link between the two cannot be established. Despite the legitimacy of the alleged Thunderbird image, no image has been officially confirmed as the original source. While some remain convinced that the photo existed and will eventually reappear, some have concluded that based on the many images discarded over time, that the photo never existed and is instead one of the greatest examples of the Mandela effect, or a large case of misremembering.